makakapasa sa emergency hiring sa mga piling health facility ng Kagawaran ng Kalusugan. Kukumpyutin ang sweldo sa ganitong paraan. Basic salary plus 20% premium, bawas tax. Ito ay base sa salary grade at bilang ng araw na naka-duty. Ang iba pang mga benepisyo ay kukwentahin naman base sa mga probisyon ng Bayanihan to Heal as One Act o Republic Act No. 11469 at mga kaugnay na mga patnubay na ilalabas ng Department of Budget and Management. Ang mga detalye ng sweldo at iba pang benepisyo na nakasaad sa ilalim ng RA 11469 ay ilalagay sa kontrata. Para sa detalyadong impormasyon, bisitahin ang bit.ly/HRHHiringFAQs. Mag-email sa hcwhiring@doh.gov.ph o tumawag sa 7266-7979. Tandaan, together, we can beat COVID-19. Maraming salamat po. Teka! Usapang technology na. Sa panahon ngayon, napakabilis ng takbo ng buhay at mas mabilis sa mga pagbabago sa teknolohiya. Nakakahabol ka ba? I-take up na natin ang latest news, personalities, issues, tips, trivia tungkol sa technology, internet, cyber issues at social media.
Tech Sabado,
Alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng gabi. Kasama ang ating techie kapatid na si Jing Garcia at tech journalist attorney Melvin Kalimag. Nakakatawa, nakakaaliw, nakakamangha, nakaka-nosebleed ba?
Tech Sabado,
Nakakatekot? Na! Tech Note para wag mahuli sa Radyo Singko at 1PH sa Signal Channel 1.
Transmitting live from our brand new studios at TV5 Media Center and Reliance Mandaluyong. By land, by sea, and on air. Mula sa pinakabaksyong newsroom sa buong bansa. 25,000 watts. Radyo Singko, 92.3 News FM. Iwanan mo na ang lumang tunog ng AM.
Hello mga kapatid. Good afternoon. Happy Saturday. Kayo po'y naka-tune in dito po sa Oplan, Asenso. Ako po si Gerard Dela Pena.
Ako po si Michelle Orosa-Ople. Kamusta, partner?
Hindi naman tayo nag-usap na mag-white tayo ngayon, ano? Hindi tayo nag-usap, no? Oo. Oo, nakakamiss mag-studio, no?
Oo, alam mo, iba talaga ng mga ka-Asenso pag may balitaktakan sa studio. Pero thank you for bearing with us over the past 6, going on 7 months na nitong quarantine.
Oo nga.
Oo, short hours tayo, pero promise naman namin sa inyo na laging malaman ang aming mga episode. Oo.
Eksakto, oo. We try our best to come up with juicy issues and juicy topics para naman sulit na sulit ang pagsama nyo sa amin tuwing Sabadong tanghali. Ngayon, in-effortan ko rin, friend. Kita mo nandyan ulit yung mga halaman ko.
Ayan. Hindi ko pa nasusolusyonan yung yung lighting ko dito sa sa aking work home setup. Nakakahiya, Ople pa man din.
Ako binigyan ako ni Miss Bing Maanyo ng ilaw. Kaya lang sa setup ko ngayon hindi naman kailangan kasi may natural light na from here.
Baka naman,
so,
Ma'am Bing.
Siguro next time lalagyan ko dito. Happy birthday nga pala, Miss Bing.
Happy birthday, Miss Bing. Malapit na rin po birthday ko.
Happy birthday!
Ay, oo.
Oy, saan tayo napapakinggan?
Yan, oo. Sorry, ulit.
Saan tayo napapakinggan?
Ayan, oo, tayo ay napapakinggan live as always sa Radyo Singko 92.3 News FM at napapanood rin po ng live sa 1PH on Signal Channel 1.
Yan, of course, meron po tayong facebook.com/Oplan Asenso. Naku, napakaganda po ng ating inihandang topic today. So, type in lang po ng inyong mga komento, pabate, ayan, at of course, mga katanungan, lalo na kung nag-iisip kayo kung paano ba i-preserve, paano ba panatiliin ang magandang mental health, ayan, sa workplace naman. workplace.
Oo, 'di ba 2 Saturdays ago, partner, naging guest natin si Dr. Tito Almadi naman tungkol din dito sa topic na ito. Kasi yun nga, parang ako I feel strongly na marami sa ating mga kapatid may problema. Kasi dito sa Pilipinas ang mahirap kasi pag sinabing may mental issues ka, ay isipin kagad baliw ka. Kaya hindi na address. Pero ngayon sa panahon ng pandemya, ang daming nakaka-experience nito. Like yun nga kinukwento ko dun sa guest natin kanina before we go on air. Na di ba nga ang wife ko ay isang doktora at ang daming lumalapit sa kanya na wala naman talagang masakit sa kanila pero ang ending yung asawa ko cardiologist siya pero ang ending naging psychiatrist. Yun pala, kailangan lang solusyonan yung mga mental health issues like may anxiety pala, may takot, may depression, nakakaramdam ng sobrang lungkot, ganyan. At itong mga bagay na to, hindi natin pwedeng palampasin. So dito sa Oplan Asenso, of course, meron tayong mga nakukuhang mga reports din na nakakaranas ng mental health issues in the workplace. Ayan.
Right,
So kailangang solusyonan natin ito together, 'di ba? Dahil ang isang healthy mental state ay nakakatulong of course sa pag-asenso natin in the long run, 'di ba, partner?
Oo. At ang maganda naman dito sa guest natin kasi si Dr. Tito was talking about personal anxiety.
Yes.
And how you can deal with that. Pero importante rin para sa mga negosyante, mga employer, to be able to see na actually may system din na pwedeng ilagay in place, may mga pwedeng gawin
That's
para
right.
tuloy-tuloy ang trabaho, number one. Kasi di ba iniisip natin pag trabaho, very transactional. Kailangan output driven. And then, hindi mo iniisip na yung workplace ay dapat safe place din siya para sa mental health mo, para sa mga iniisip mo at sa emosyon mo, lalo na ngayong pandemic. So, very interesting tong guest natin ngayon kasi sila naman, focus sila sa workplace. Ano yung mga pwedeng gawin sa workplace para tuloy-tuloy yung trabaho and tuloy-tuloy yung mental health, yung maayos na mental health ng mga employee. Diba?
At para productive tayo, partner, diba?
Oo, actually, that's one thing na baka hindi naiisip kasi ng mga businesses ngayon eh. Hindi kasi to business as usual.
Yes,
diba? So,
business unusual tayo.
Very business unusual ito. At actually, iniisip nga ng marami na parang kung sa normal na nga na araw, merong mga pang sariling mga problema na nagdadala ng mga mental health issues, paano pa ngayon? 'Di ba? Na isang napaka-tinding pandemya ang tumama dito sa ating ekonomiya. So shall we introduce our guests already? Partner?
Yes, go.
Oo,
Yes.
Okay, kasama natin dito ngayon sa Oplan Asenso ang Mind Nation. Si Ms. Kana Tokanaki, CEO and co-founder ng Mind Nation, and si Kat Trevino, ang Chief Marketing Officer ng Mind Nation. Hello! Nagaganda ang mga binibini.
Hello! Hi, Gerard. Hi, Mitch.
Yes, welcome sa Oplan.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes,
thank you for having us.
Ayan, sige, let's start off kagad. Dito sa Oplan Asenso, we're very curious, bakit ba importante na i-promote itong mental health in the workplace? Ayan. Kana or Kat?
Yeah. So, well, very important, no? Kasi lalo na ngayon na natutunan na natin in the most, in the hardest way kung gaano ka-critical yung employee well-being sa success ng mga businesses. Kasi if wala tayong healthy and productive employees, yung companies natin without the resources to ride yung fallout ng COVID-19 will likely not survive or recover their business costs. Especially now, and yun yung lagi namin pinapaintindi sa Mind Nation, na sa isang company, you always have to take care of the most important asset of your company, which is your people. So, ayun, without effective mental health resources in place sa kumpanya nyo, it will cost your organization your best employees. But again, the silver lining is that we already have the technology, the data, and resources to do so. Kayo na lang iniintay.
Kayo na lang ang kulang.
To add to that, actually, meron ring, even before the pandemic, marami ng research that is saying that the productivity of our employees are greatly connected to their mental health. There has been data that has been shared globally. Now we lose $1 trillion every year due to problems in mental health. Dahil it connects to absenteeism, lack of motivation, even physically getting sick as well. Yung sabi mo kanina, Gerard, na parang una pumunta sila sa physical doctor, and then they found out that it's really mental health concerns. That's one way that it really manifests physically, and that's why we need to really put importance to it. So mas lalo na ngayong pandemic na maraming uncertainties, mayroong may mga tao na isolated away from family, friends, at saka sa mga outlets nila na dati nagpapasaya sa kanila, for them to physically feel like they're rested. At I don't know if it's the same with you guys also, pero parang dahil wala nang boundaries, kahit na nasa bahay tayo, we feel also that we're a lot more tired. Kahit na parang nasa bahay lang naman ako, bakit parang mas pagod ako than before? And that's part of why we need more mental health care and mental health care benefits in the workplace.
Doon ba nagsisimula yon na the fact na parang borderless na wala nang tamang oras para sa kung anumang bagay? Doon ba nagsisimula yung stress, anxiety, depression, and other mental issues?
Oo, actually, it comes from a lot of different factors. Pero that lack of the boundaries anymore plays a role in it. Kasi nagiging, meron silang term na ginagamit. I forget what it is. Pero when you're at home now, prior to the pandemic, meron kang isang role lang. You're nanay, you're resting, you're a daughter. Pero now, it's multiple roles in one place. And minsan papatong-patong pa and wala nang set schedule. For some, siguro sabi nga ni Mitch, we're already 6-7 months in the pandemic. Baka meron na tayong schedule, but up to now, there have been people na hindi pa adjusted pa rin. And it's very stressful for them.
Eto, curious lang, when we talk about mental health, is it all in the mind? I mean, what is it really? Kasi recently lang naman naging uso ang term na mental health, di ba? Parang everybody started talking about it. But what is it really? Pwede ko bang kontrolin lang yung iniisip ko tapos okay na ako? How does that go? Siguro ka
the thing is, when people hear the words mental health, automatic na yan, na they will think about stress, depression, anxiety, PTSD, all of the negative things that come with it, right? But mental health is really a spectrum. It ranges from positive to negative emotions. So when you feel happy, that's mental health. When you feel sad, that's mental health. When you feel productive, it's also mental health. So mental health is the center of our being. It affects everything. So if we have good mental health or bad mental health, ma-affect yan kung paano tayo mag-work, kung paano tayo makikipag-interact sa ibang tao, gaano tayo ka-productive, for example, as human beings, or kung paano tayo nakaka-contribute sa society. So mental health is really a spectrum, a wide spectrum of emotions ranging from good and bad.
And it's to add to it lang, it's not, you can say it's all in the mind, which is true, definitely, because everything, it's connected to every part of our body and every aspect of our life. But the feelings that we have, the emotions, how we react to things, how we move forward, and how resilient we are, also depends on a wide variety of other factors, like how we were raised as well, maybe chemical imbalance, and also how we grow up, maybe the traumas or the experiences we've had throughout our life.
Ayun, so ito, can you tell us about Mind Nation now? How did it start? And what does it do exactly for its life?
Okay, so Mind Nation is actually one of Southeast Asia's first mental health care companies that cater specifically to companies or teams and organizations. Right now, we're based in both Manila and Singapore. We started, I think, early 2019. Yeah, it started with me and my best friend, since I've always been an advocate for mental health, and him naman, he's a service user, or he goes to consultations We just reunited one night. He mentioned that his former company has this toxic work environment. And nag-worry siya kasi it's normalized na parang measured na ang worth ng isang employee sa company kung gaano siya ka-productive at work, kung gaano siya katagal nag-OT, and kung gaano siya ka-available on weekends, and the workload, di ba? And we realized I mentioned to him na kasi I was working on the mental health law pa back then. I mentioned to him that the mental health law has recently been passed, and companies now more than ever, they have to have their own programs for their employees' mental health. It started with that, and then everything followed. We met Kat, and it became our passion project until we realized that, this is what we want to do, at least for the next few years. So we left our jobs and focused on building foundations.
Yeah. Sobrang ang ganda ng where it started also. Kasi for me as well, it has been my advocacy for the longest time. Also as someone that advocates and actively goes to therapy as well because of mental health concerns. So I really felt that there was something to be improved on, working also with global companies, something that we could also do. And the best way talaga for us to be able to service the Filipinos, because in the Philippines and in many countries, sobrang inaccessible and inaffordable. It's not affordable to have mental health care. A consultation can range from 1,200 to 3,000 per hour. And it's very expensive, and that's it contributes to why people refuse to take action when it comes to mental health concerns. So when we were talking about it, and we were thinking na parang why do organizations have these HMOs for physical health, mga annual physical exam, when mental health is equally as important? Bakit hindi siya binibigyan ng priority? And we've been calling HMOs when we started, and we were asking parang meron ba kayong benefits for mental health, or at least like seeking a psychologist, and they said na hindi importante yon. So we knew we had to take action.
Okay, may quick break lang tayo, pero eto na, lumalalim na yung discussion, partner. Pero quick break muna, partner.
Okay, dyan lang kayo mga kapatid, magbabalik po agad ang Oplan Asenso.
Isang mensahe ng pag-ahon mula sa Cobra Energy Drink. Bangon na sa pagkakatulog at pagbagsak ng kabuhayan. Matatalo rin natin ang pagsubok. Simula na ng biyahe, hindi lang ng sasakyan, kundi ng buhay tungo sa pag-ahon. Bukas na, hindi lang bote ng Cobra, pati ang daan tungo sa pangarap. Ngayon, panahon na nating bumangon. Cobra, #1 energy drink. Katuwang mo sa pag-ahon. Angat ang lakas mo.
Cobra, #1 energy drink. Katuwang mo sa pag-ahon. Angat ang lakas mo.
Ngayong panahon ng pandemya, lahat po tayo ay bida dahil we can bida solusyon sa COVID-19. Paano? Ito ay sa pamamagitan ng pagsunod sa B para sa bawal walang mask, I para sa isanitize ang mga kamay, D para sa dumistansya ng isang metro, at A para sa alamin ang totoong impormasyon. Para sa iba pa pong impormasyon, bisitahin ang Bida Solusyon at DOH official Facebook page. Tandaan, we can #Bida Solusyon to COVID-19. Maraming salamat po.
Alright, tuloy-tuloy pa rin po tayo dito sa Oplan Asenso. Yan, ako po si Gerard Dela Pena.
Ako po si Michelle Orosa-Ople. Ayan.
Ayan. Okay, tayo po yung napapakinggan live na live sa Radyo Singko 92.3 News FM, and we're also airing live on Signal Channel 1, that's 1PH. Ayan, partner, papaalala ko lang sa kanila, sa Lunes kasi meron na tayong bagong kapatid starting at 6 a.m. I think as early as that hour ay magre-report na ako. Nandito na sa TV5 at sa Radyo Singko si Ted Pailon at DJ Chacha.
Grabe, kinikilabutan ako, partner.
Oo nga, ako kinakabahan ako. Baka matisis defense ako ni Manong Ted.
Basta ako, Sabado na lang ako.
Ayan.
Okay, tune in po kayo mga Asenso.
Ayan mga kapatid, ako may mga katanungan po kayo ha. Bukas po ang aming Facebook page para sa inyong mga katanungan, or if you want to share something, ayan, pwede po kayong mag-send ng private message din sa aming Facebook page.
Of course, facebook.com/Oplan Asenso. Pinag-uusapan po natin ngayon ang mental health in the workplace. At kasama natin ang Mind Nation, si Ms. Kana Takahashi, ang CEO and co-founder ng Mind Nation. And si Kat Trevino, ang Chief Marketing Officer ng Mind Nation. Ayan, pinag-uusapan muli natin sa mga kaka-tune in lang itong mental health in the workplace. At very interesting, ang naiwang thought ni Kat at ni Kana kanina na pag tinawagan mo pala yung mga HMO, abay hindi raw importante ang mental health.
Grabe ano?
Oo, end of 2020. Ayun, how did you guys deal with that, Kana and Kat? Na okay, sige, hindi siya priority para sa mga coverage ng HMO.
Well, hindi naman namin siya tinignan as a negative thing, no? Kasi we understand, this was last year when we reached out, and we understood naman na maybe hindi pa nila nakikita yung importance of mental health in the workplace. Maybe because wala pa tayong masyadong research, especially here in the Philippines, wala rin tayong masyadong data. And so, instead of taking it in a negative way, the team took it as an opportunity to build more. For example, we worked hard to do our own research on mental health here in the Philippines, especially in the workplace. And hopefully soon, with what we have now, we will get these HMOs to see that it's really time to start talking about mental health benefits as part of their plans.
Right. Oo. Ito, how has COVID-19 affected itong mental health issues na nararanasan dito sa workplace? And if you could share, ano ba yung mga madalas na nagiging issues when it comes to mental health pagdating sa trabaho?
Good question.
When we actually pushed and started really launching the programs a month before the pandemic, and we really saw and noticed more companies and more employees reaching out also and checking in and asking us actually for direct access to psychologists. And of course, we're B2B, so diretso, we have to talk to the HRs and hopefully make it an employee benefit for the company. But when we started, we wanted to do our own advocacy work as well. So we partnered with Senator Risa Hontiveros around April, and provided free psychological consultations via teletherapy. Prior to the pandemic, we were offering face-to-face, but of course, the teletherapy also works and it's very helpful as well. You can do it anytime, anywhere. And so we prepared free mental health care consultations, 1 hour, either via video call, voice call, or chat, whichever they're most comfortable with. And we've serviced over 1,000 Filipinos already. And we've seen that most of them are really having troubles with, of course, the isolation, not being to see their loved ones, and uncertainty. And of course, in the recent months, also yung loss of jobs as well. So not worries about finances, and for those that are still at work, worries na yung future nila sa company, kung magtatagal pa to, they might be out of the job. So those are the things, the anxieties that they're, and the fears that they're really looking into.
Curious ako, how do I know na kung kailangan ko na pala ng tulong? Ano yung manifestation? Kasi 'di ba, normal sa atin mag-worry na kung may trabaho pa kaya ako, ay kumusta kaya si ganyan, hindi ko nakikita. Pero at what point na kailangan ko na pala ng psychological help?
Sige,
well, siguro before we answer the question, me and Kat would like to let everyone know that we're not psychologists. This is based on Mind Nation's research, and the general information available online. So, in terms of the common signs naman na if it's time for you to seek mental health support, it can range from physical to mental symptoms. No, you can feel anxious, irritable, or extremely sad. Pwede ka rin makafeel ng kawalan ng pake or loss of interest sa work mo or sa pag-interact sa other people. You can have problems sleeping, fatigue, also trouble concentrating. Pwede rin siyang mag-manifest through muscle tension or headaches, stomach problems, social withdrawal, loss of drive, yung mawawalan ka ng motivation to do anything, and bisyo. Ayan. So, yun ang common signs and symptoms of mental health issues. And so, if you feel at least 4 or 5 symptoms or signs, then we highly recommend that you seek the help of a mental health professional.
To add to it lang, kasi ako, I'm an advocate and I really make sure that I check in regularly with a psychologist when it comes to my mental health. Kasi sometimes we want to just keep going, deny natin sa sarili natin that there's a problem. As you said nga, Gerard, di ba, parang when we think about mental health, automatically inisip na may baliw or something. But it should be as regular as how we seek how we do check-ins for physical health as well. Just because na parang, you don't go to the hospital and wait for your whole arm to break bago ka tumingin sa professional. When you're feeling down or when you're feeling uneasy, irritable already, maybe it's time, maybe you should check in. You don't lose anything. And I guess for me, that's why we're pushing really talaga for employers to have mental health care programs in the workplace kasi it really will affect your productivity and your success as a company.
Actually, come to think of it, no, partner, Pat and Kana, nung nasa school tayo, merong guidance counselor na nakastay doon, di ba? Pero pagdating mo ngayon sa workplace, wala na. Wala ka ng sangkalan pagka meron kang gustong And I'd like to talk about the cost. Yung sinabi ni Kat kanina na 1K to mga around 6K. Sasabihin na lang ng mga kaibigan mo, inuman na lang tayo. Andito na lang.
Iinom na lang natin yung 3,000.
Diba? Sasabihin nila, gagastos ka pa dun. How do you balance that out? And I'm sure employers have maybe have had the same kind of mentality na, bakit gagastos ng ganun kalaki for counseling or something to that effect? How have you been able to explain this or get the clients to understand na kailangan yung mag-invest dito para sa mga empleado nyo? Sige. Kat or Hannah?
Well, madami, no? Given that mental health is a new concept here in the Philippines, and bago din ang nag-offer ng ganitong service like us. But siguro, yung biggest challenge nga, like what you said, for us is making them understand why it's important to invest in their employees' mental health. Since bago lang yung concept, wala pa rin masyadong data. And so everything we have right now, matagal-tagal and madugo-dugo na research and pag-consult sa experts. Kasi even though we know na this is needed, we also need to be backed up by numbers. So that's what we present to them. We present them the numbers. Yun kasi ang makakapagpa-realize, especially if we're aiming for companies to be our partners, na it is an important and timely investment for them to take care of the most valuable asset of their companies. And hindi lang Mind Nation ang nagsistart to research on the investment or return of investment, if you will, sa companies if naglabas sila ng pera sa mental health. Nagsistart na din mag-work ang WHO, ang UN, so different worldwide organizations are starting to release these numbers, and it helps us to report back to companies, and it helps them see the importance of investing in mental health.
Ito, meron tayong phone-in question, partner. Ito, very interesting. Dalawa sila, pero isa muna yung iyaana natin before the break. Sabi ni Miko Santos, how to deal with employees na nagsasakit-sakitan low performer, lazy troublemaker, at sila pa yung lagi nagsasabi na stressed sila. Employees who want easy work and high salary. Ayan, how do you deal with those?
Or how do you advise
Ano ma-advise nyo doon?
employers?
You know, honestly, for us, we always say that you have to take these things seriously. Kahit na sinasabi nila na parang, oh, sakit-sakitan lang, joke lang. There have been many occasions na sasabihin natin, kunyari lang, in the case of suicide, last September was Suicide Prevention Month. We would often hear na parang, hear it as a joke, that, oh, I'm gonna end it na ganon. And we are surprised that they take it seriously, or we are surprised that na itutuloy nila. And so when we hear things like this, na parang, you know, my mental health is not doing well and I feel like I'm overloaded, then it really needs to be looked into. It needs to be an open communication between the boss and the employee, because pag nagsasakit-sakitan sila, they're making excuses and they're being lazy. As Kana said, the lack of motivation, lack of drive, but still wanting the same benefits can be also a sign that something is troubling this person. We have to be able to create that open channel with him or her. It has to be a safe enough space for the employer and for the employee to say what's really going on.
So this is a case na na not necessarily tama ako, mali siya. So dapat talaga mag-usap sila, no?
Agree.
Oo. Okay, may quick break lang tayo. Ulit, partner. And then babalik tayo dito sa ating topic. Okay, partner?
Okay, dyan lang po kayo. Magbabalik po agad ang Oplan Asenso.
Ang oras, 1:31. Ang oras sa Radyo Singko ay hatid sa inyo ng Gin Kapitan. Kayang-kaya mo yan. Ang Radyo Singko News Update ay hatid sa inyo ng Gin Kapitan. Kayang-kaya mo yan.
Radyo Singko 92.3 News FM News Update.
Narito ang mga balitang hatid ng Radyo Singko. Patuloy ang negosasyon ng Pilipinas sa pagbili ng UH-1H at MD-500 helicopters mula sa gobyerno ng South Korea. Ayon kay Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana, nasa exploratory stage na usapan ng dalawang bansa. Maliban sa pagbili ng mga helicopters mula South Korea, sinabi rin ni Lorenzana na inilalatag na ang plano sa pagsasagawa ng Joint Visual Inspection sa uling bahagi ng 2020. Sasama sa Joint Visual Inspection ng ilang opisyal ng DND at Armed Forces of the Philippines at kanilang counterparts sa South Korea. Tiniyak naman ni Lorenzana na mahigpit na ipatutupad ang biosafety protocols sa joint inspection. Nasa final stage na ayon kay Lorenzana ang desisyon kung kailan isasagawa ang joint visual inspection at kung ilan ang sasali rito. Sa ibang balita, pinaiiwas muna ng Department of Foreign Affairs o DFA ang mga Pilipino na bumiyahe sa bansang Iraq. Kasunod ito ng rocket assault sa Baghdad International Airport at Green Zone. Payo ng DFA sa mga Pinoy, kung hindi maiwasang bumiyahe sa Iraq, ay tiyakin ng mga ito na walang umiiral na curfew sa kanilang destinasyon upang hindi sila arestuhin ng otoridad. Pinaiiwas din ng DFA ang mga ahensya na mag-book ng flights ng gabi o umaga ang dating sa Baghdad, Basra at iba pang paliparan sa Kurdistan region. Paliwanag ng DFA, target sa rocket attacks ang ilang Iraqi military bases na siya ring tinutuluyan ng American troops, gayon din ng Green Zone na tahanan naman ng maraming foreign missions kabilang na ang US Embassy. At yan ang balita. Ako si Mon Gualvez ng Radyo Singko 92.3 News FM.
Radyo Singko News Update.
Ang Radyo Singko News Update ay inihatid sa inyo ng Gin Kapitan. Kayang-kaya mo yan.
Sa lahat ng mga magigiting nating mga kababayan sa frontline.
Pacheck po ng inyong ID.
Ilang malalim po. Lagi po tayong maghuhugas ng kamay, ha?
Check po tayo ng temperature.
Kayo ang aming mga bayani. Maraming salamat po sa inyong serbisyo. Lahat kami ay saludo at sumusuporta sa inyo.
Hatid sa inyo ng PCOO, DOH, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
Alright, nandito pa rin po tayo sa second half na ng Oplan Asenso.
Yes.
Yan. Ako po si Gerard Dela Pena.
Ako po si Michelle Orosa-Ople. Ayan, babati lang tayo bago pumasok ulit
Yes!
sa
Of
ating
course, ang dami nila, partner, nakakatuwa.
Oo, wait, babati lang ako sa daddy ko, si Mike Orosa. Sabi niya, yung mga symptoms daw naririnig niya kanina, parang siya daw yun. Grabe, daddy, let me know.
Ayan, si Celia Dumawal Martinez, good afternoon Philippines. Si Grace Nacario, sabi niya, good afternoon po, first time listener po, more power and God bless. Si Rosalie Lumanlog, pa-shout out po, yes, thank you. Si Jerwin Pereira, sabi niya, can you suggest a good mutual fund to invest in? May website niya, nakalimutan ko kung anong pangalan ng website, nandun lahat ng mutual funds, pati yung performance nila. Ako, I can't endorse a single mutual fund kasi iba't iba naman tayo ng needs. Pero may website. Pag naalala ko, ipopost ko sana yan sa Facebook page natin. Yan.
Hello, first time ko manood. Razlin Razal, watching from Tarlac. Narcissus Lozada. Hello, Grace Nacario. Very true po ang intro views niyo po on the topic. Belen Potes, good PM po, watching from Pampanga. June Francisco, ayan, hello. Ronald Resio, maasensong Sabado mga ka-asenso, lalo na kay Sir Pogi GDP All Caps.
Yan.
At Ma'am Pretty Miss. Bakit All Caps yung sa akin, Ronald, pabati po sa aking magkuna. Marie Isaiah Rael sa Resio family, sabi niya, madami talaga meron mental at wallet issue ngayon, lalo na mga OFW. Kaya ang solusyon talaga, pray. Ayan. At pera fee. Kaya mahalaga ang programang Oplan Asenso. God bless everyone. Delia Reno, magandang buhay po. Enteng Concepcion, babasahin ko yung comment mo in a bit. Watching from Cyprus, si Angie Reyes Cortez. Watching from Dubai, si Merlin Lofstrand. Watching from Albay, si Connie Abayan. Hello daw, shout out sa mga Green Gate, Imus Cavite, sa family ni Brian Malikdem Ocampo at family ni Fe Mercado. Watching while having coffee, sabi ni RM Credler. This is a very entertaining topic and they've got a very, very important topic. Merlinda Espinosa, watching from Nueva Ecija. Okay, Enteng, babalikan talaga kita. Alex Fuentes, hello, watching from Bacolod City.
Hi, Alex.
And Chin Chuali, watching from Malaysia. Wait, meron pa akong isa na nanonood. Sir Kent Mariano is watching. Ayan, from TV. Hello po, he is from Red Ribbon. Hello. Ayan, nanonood.
Ma'am, ang mami ko, Nora de la Peña, nanonood yan sa atin ngayon. Yung pinsan ko, si Fatih de los Santos. Tita Baby Jose, tita, tingnan mo, ganda ng mga halaman ko. Yeah. Si Bernice Francisco, nanonood yan sa atin. Ayan.
Okay, ayan. Pinag-uusapan po natin ngayon dito ang mental health in the workplace. Kasama natin ang mga taga Mind Nation, ang CEO and co-founder na si Kana Takahashi, and ang Chief Marketing Officer ng Mind Nation, si Kat Trevino. Ayan. So, ito, ano ang mga, we've been talking about some of the issues. Actually, mamaya, babasahin ko yung comment ni Enteng Concepcion. Pero curious lang ako, how do you guide yung mga employers sa pagbibigay importansya dito sa mental health and at the same time, creating that system para maalagaan nila yung kanilang mga empleyado? Sige, Kana. Okay.
Well, with us, with Mind Nation, we provide them with a whole mental health program. No? So, kasi naiintindihan namin that this is something new. And this is something that not all companies are equipped to do. And so we guide them every step of the way. So we start by, of course, examining the culture inside the company. Kasi when we talk about mental health programs, hindi siya one size fits all. And so you really have to understand kung ano na ba ang culture nila sa company, ano ba nasa ang industry ba sila. And from there, of course, we do have staple services like yung psychological consultations and our hotline. But we also provide them with tailored fit na program. For example, ano ba ang kailangan ng managers nila? Equipped ba sila sa pag-aalaga ng employees nila. Ang employees, ano ba ang kailangan? Diba? Ano ba ang programs na kailangan sa kanila? Kailangan ba ng first aid? And ayun, we just guide them all throughout the way, especially if wala pa silang policy in place for that.
Pansing, ito, this is just a trivia fact. Totoo ba na mostly women ang nagpapasakbo ng Mind Nation? And kung totoo siya, how has that added value sa inyong negosyo?
Oh my God, it's very true. It's very true. Of course, Itana is our CEO, and me as well, and our chairwoman, and also global CMO are also all women, and we're very proud. It's been good kasi kami rin, of course, it's important for us to have clear and open communication within our organization as well, and make sure that we're also advocating what we're offering and what we're servicing to other companies, diba? And that's something that we feel as all women, also with our own share of not just mental health concerns, but experiences and stories, and also our own passions and advocacies. For women, parang we also note that it's not a bad thing to be emotional, and to also be very open with your emotions. That's something that we highly advocate for all our companies and all the people that we work with. And the synergy between an all lady management team is also very wonderful, kasi it's really something we get to enjoy.
And to add to that, I think it's really important because we're cultivating diversity, from gender diversity to culture to age, race, and having this in an organization has been shown to foster creativity and innovation. And aside from all research proven benefits of having an all-female leadership, I believe that it really helps, especially sa industry kung nasan kami. Kasi mental health care is a wonderful but sensitive industry. And one wrong move, one wrong intention, it can affect the way you deliver your service to the people. So I'm proud that the culture that we have inside the company is amazing, and nadadala namin siya sa partners. And since Mind Nation is run by women, the approach to leadership and how we develop, deliver, and maintain our services is very maternal, which has heart and passion to drive mental health in the country in the most genuine way.
Actually, pagdating talaga sa ganito, sa mental health, really getting deep into the person, yung mga employee, it takes a little bit of nurturing, and a little bit of that maternal instinct. But how do you balance that with your clients? Na a lot of the clients that you have are big companies, mga multinational, and a lot of them, to a certain extent, are very transactional and output driven. Paano nyo nababalance yon? Maybe in terms of your program, how do you put things in place so that hindi naman na parang, may term yun na parang pinapamper yung employee. Hindi naman. How do you do that? How do you balance that? Na output-driven pa rin tayo, and this has benefit to your bottom line.
Well, like what I said earlier, when we talk to clients, yes, what we're doing is very passionate, and it may feel like we're pampering the employees. But at the same time, it's data driven. It will show in the future, and so aside from doing these programs, we make sure that we have also tools in place to measure what you want to happen, like productivity, workplace happiness, and any other factor that may arise when we're talking about mental health programs in the workplace.
Yun. Ang galing ng may data and tools. I think that's key, na parang nami-measure mo kung nagkakaroon ng effect talaga sa productivity. Eto, si Enteng, kanina pa siya talaga he's very curious on this topic. Una, pag-greet daw sa mga anak niya, Angel, Althea, and Sophia in Tagum City, we're watching you. naka-work from home daw siya. Ayan. Mas madami ang work ngayon, mas madalas ang report namin. Tapos may online schooling pa. Curious, have you come across these kinds of situations, and it sounds quite common, pero how do you advise employers to go about it?
Oh my goodness, all the time. I think that's a common concern now. Tsaka mas lalo na now that we're not face-to-face, mas maraming report, there's a lot of micromanaging going on to make sure that you're still working and you always produce or you always make sure that the work gets done. So mas maraming reports that have to be sent out to the managers. Pero when we talk to our leadership team or the HR or the organization about how to go about it, because overall when we start seeing companies after surveys, after doing our research, na they're feeling overloaded or they're feeling overworked, usually because of COVID fears and also of personal concerns, maraming ginagawa at home, we give them the trainings that they need to be able to manage productivity and workload and time while they're at home. We're in unprecedented times. It's not as if sinabihan ka lang, oh, from now on, work from home. Now, there's a reason why that's happening, because we're in a pandemic. And the pandemic alone lang is already giving us stress and anxiety. So we try to manage that. We try to work with the organizations in figuring out the best way to communicate and strike that balance, that work-life balance within the employees, even when at home, by setting simple boundaries like kailangan by 7 p.m. off na, it's time for the family already, or by giving a little leeway to working parents for their children while they're e-learning, because that also has a learning curve. The managers and the bosses have to be open to providing that space for them to be able to do the errands or the work they have to do as well.
Yeah.
Boundaries talaga, no? Okay, partner.
Ito, si RM Credler is watching from Germany, and si Chinchu Wali is watching from Malaysia. Yan. Ito si Grace Nacario ulit, meron siyang tanong. Ito hindi ko alam kung kaya masasagot nyo kasi nga hindi naman talaga kayo psychiatrist or psychologist. Ang sabi ni Grace, how will one cope with overthinking? Is nervous breakdown also a mental health concern?
Definitely. It is a mental health concern. It not be as intense as depression and anxiety, but yes, it is valid. Well, in terms of dealing with it, well, we're not psychologists or psychiatrists, but the general way, I think, or at least the most simple way of dealing with this is to find the best coping strategy for you. So, well, it depends, no, person to person. But you may find yourself coping through watching movies with your family, your friends. Bumili ka ng plants. Alam mo, bumili ka ng plants, listen to music, have Zoom parties. It's really finding the best coping technique for you, and don't get frustrated if pag nagsisimula ka pa lang to find your coping strategy, hindi mo mahanap at first, but try lang and try until mahanap mo kung ano yung for you.
Part of our services in Mind Nation are also include company culture drives and workshops and webinars. So they don't necessarily have to be talking about productivity, but also how you deal with mental health concerns if you're feeling burnt out, anxious, if you're dealing with nervous breakdowns such as that. But part of the talks that I do personally for the clients is called mental resilience, and how to really build yourself from crisis to move forward and become a better version of yourself. And a part of that is talking also about the right ways of coping, because while Kana did say that find a way that you can cope, there are healthy and unhealthy ways of coping as well.
Right.
A lot of us tend to sige, iinumin na lang yan, ganito,
Correct.
versus talking to someone about it. So we have to be very careful about knowing how to cope. When you're thinking about overthinking, I think the best way that works for me, kasi I'm also an overthinker, is iniisip ko kung makokontrol ko ba to, magagawan ko ba to ng paraan ngayon or within the next week or hindi. Kung hindi, then gawin natin yung, okay, I'll spend more time with my family, I'll try journaling. It's good na you're recognizing your thoughts at alam mo na something's wrong. Pero you have to also figure out and put it into place kung may magagawa ka ba with the situation or hindi.
Oo. Ako naman, on the employee side, going to the employer, how would you advise employees to approach yung employers nila? Kunwari, of course, you have the client and the employees have to put all of these systems in place. Pero how would you encourage the employees themselves to take advantage of all of these things that the employers have put in place? Sabihin natin, you've put the culture in, may webinars, may ganyan. What would their next steps be so that they can step out of that shell na parang ayoko po personal kong buhay, and say na, okay, I'll open these channels? What would your advice be?
Well, with Mind Nation naman kasi, we know that yung mga employees, hindi agad-agad yan mag-open up or gagamit ng service, right? And so, part of our program, yun nga, nabanggit ni Kat kanina na we have this thing that we call the company culture drives, which really focuses on the work environment. And so, before we expect or before we encourage the employees to seek the services that's available, we make sure that we establish the whole company, even their leadership, as a safe space. So yun muna ang goal namin, no, is to establish the company, their leaders, their HR even, to be a safe space for these employees to reach out, and then we encourage them to reach out.
Okay. Kat? Nakamute yata si
Sorry.
Ayan.
Very usual. To add to that, we usually also send them weekly emails, newsletters, and it's not to make kulit na merong service na kailangan i-avail or patingin ka sa psychologist for free. It's also just reminding them, kasi visual cues are also very important. And to add to what Kana said also about training the managers and making sure that even from the small team that they work with, safe space na to talk about it. And part of the trainings that we have is a psychological first aid for teams and advocates that are within the organization, para matuto kung paano ba i-link to a psychologist. When can I suggest my colleague who I see or I feel is having mental health concerns can seek help already. So it's really tulong-tulungan within the organization, and it's not just parang okay, you offer it na, it's a one and done deal. We have to be able to activate all the channels within the team.
Ang laking bagay na establish yung safe space. Partner, sige.
Oo. Hindi, ito, I'm curious lang ako kasi since, di ba this is a relatively new concept dito sa atin sa Pilipinas, gaano ka-open ang mga businesses or ang mga companies with regards to ganitong mga service?
Nako. Okay, actually, it became one of our big problems when we were starting out, right? Kasi when we were starting, we started 2019 we started fully operating early this year. At first, mahirap talaga. Kasi they don't see the importance of having a mental health program in place. And siguro nga feeling ko kung hindi naman napasa yung mental health law, hindi rin naman yan mag-iisip na kung hindi required, 'di ba? Hindi rin naman sila mapapaisip if they need one or not. But I think right now, especially with the pandemic, nakikita nila yung effects, no, sa employees nila, sa productivity, sa absenteeism, sa presenteeism, and sa output na nabibigay. Nakikita na nila yung importance of having a mental health program in place, or at least a partner like us. And so far it's good kasi we've been going up ever since, and we've been helping a lot of companies at the moment drive their own mental health programs, and we're happy with the feedback kasi so far wala pa kaming nakukuhang negative feedback, no? It's all positive, and them saying how the program really helped their company in terms of outputs and the overall culture.
In our Facebook group also, we have this is open to the public naman, 24/7 chat with a friend. The people that are behind the chat are trained with psychological first aid also. And this has been a very helpful tool for us to really raise awareness on the importance of opening up and talking to someone. And from there, nagiging advocates namin yung mga tao na seeing the importance of mental health, of seeking a psychologist. And they actually are the ones that invite their HR people or give the suggestion to their organization to have this as a mental health benefit talaga for the or for the team.
Ano yung Facebook group na yon para ma-post din namin sa Oplan Asenso?
It's a Facebook page, so it's facebook.com/themindnation. So you can chat there anytime, minsan kasi alam natin parang hindi tayo makatulog gabing-gabi na nahihiya tayo makipag-usap dun sa mga friend natin or loved one. Ayun, they're free to talk to you, to listen to you anytime.
Sabi ni Grace Nacario, thanks so much sa pagtugon and for sharing your personal views. Got enlightened and will consider applying these advices. Diba? Ang laking bagay pagka nakakatulong. Yes, partner.
Ito, last 4 minutes natin siguro, ano na lang ang message nyo sa mga employers? Of course, in terms of taking care of their employees, given the unusual circumstances that we are in. And of course, doon sa mga individuals, yung mga na-stress na sa bahay, mga nag-work from home, ano ba ang mapapayo nyo sa kanila? Yan.
Okay. So for me, siguro now that we're already seeing the importance of mental health in the workplace, it's time to provide all possible forms of support to our employees. It can start with educational and awareness campaigns. It can start with training your managers on how to deal with their employees' mental health. You can have your own mental health program. You can provide help. And if you feel lost or unsure on how to kick off these forms of support, then Mind Nation is always here to help you.
Okay. Thanks, Jana.
This month also is Mental Health Month. It's recognized by the World Health Organization, and that is celebrated on October 10. And one of the key things that we highlight, well, for us naman, every month is Mental Health Month. Pero we really are trying to push together with our partners that it's really time to invest in mental health care for your teams, for your community, because productivity, the success and everything is just a byproduct of being mentally well. We cannot afford losing people and losing more people and more people that are not happy with work and are anxious and are sad or maybe even depressed because we choose to set aside and to give less importance to our mental health. Sa mga employees or to everyone hindi masyadong okay ang feeling ngayon, we're here to talk anytime. You can message us again 24/7 kami. But take it easy. Be open and really set the healthy boundaries that you need. You can't keep pushing yourself. We're still in the middle of a global pandemic. Don't stress yourself. with unnecessary things or things that are beyond our control. Kasi at the end of the day, you're important, and what's important is we get through this together stronger and happier.
Wow, thank you. Where do we contact Mind Nation?
Paano kayo marireach? Yan.
So we have our website, www.themindnation.com. Again, we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/themindnation. Same on Twitter and Instagram @themindnation. If you're watching, tag nyo kami. But you're free to reach us anytime and let us know how we can help you and how we can service you as well.
Ayan, maraming salamat, Kana Takahashi, CEO and co-founder ng Mind Nation, and Kat Revino, Chief Marketing Officer ng Mind Nation. Kana and Kat, thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
sa inyo.
Thank you, Gerard. Thank you, Mitch.
Ayan, happy weekend, Kana and Kat. Nako, napaka-enlightening na conversation.
Of course.
Ang gandang advocacy, no, partner. It really has to start din with the employers when it comes to making sure na itong mental health ay pinangangahalagahan, ayan, sa workplace. And maganda yung mga tips din talaga, lalo na if employee ka. It's good na you have that safe space sa employer mo. But if you don't, at the moment, you have to create then your healthy boundaries. And suggest nyo na rin sa employers nyo na baka gusto nyong pangahalagahan yung mental health sa panahon na to, pwedeng ganon. Bulungan nyo na rin yung HR nyo para naman hindi maapektuhan yung productivity natin. The reality is hindi business unusual tayo. This is not the way it's supposed to be. So kailangan tanggapin din natin na may mga bagay na kailangan din natin ng tulong sa panahon na to, no, partner?
Yes, of course. Oo, yan. At yun nga, don't stress out. If you feel that you need help, ayan, let's look for help. Para sa atin din yan.
Ayan, the Mind Nation will post. Ayan, Kat posted it sa comments section ng Oplan Asenso this episode kung ano yung kanilang Facebook page. May 24/7 chat sila doon, and all of the details that you will need are on their website as well. Ayan, sige. Gerard, thank you.
Ayan. Okay, sige. Next week po ulit magkita-kita po tayo at magkarinigan dito po sa Radyo Singko 92.3 News FM and on 1PH on Signal Channel 1. Muli po, ito po ang Oplan Asenso. Ako po si Gerard Dela Pena.
Ako po si Michelle Orosa-Ople. God bless, mga kapatid.
Wake up to your new morning habit on FM radio. DJ Chacha and Ted Filon together on 92.3 News FM. October 5, Monday 6 a.m. Don't miss it!
Ang Radyo Singko News Update ay hatid sa inyo ng Jen Kapitan. Kayang-kaya mo yan.
Radyo Singko 92.3 News FM News Update.
Narito ang mga balitang hatid ng Radyo Singko. Muling isa sa ilalim sa Modified Enhanced Community Quarantine o